Good evening, very pleased to be here. Well, electronically, thanks to Stefan for arranging all this electric business that allows me to talk to you, but not in person. We're here, as you know, obviously to celebrate 100 years of Citroen. The first car came off the production line June the 4th, 1919, and we're also celebrating the growth of ACI, Amical Citroen International, which started in 1974. For your information, I arrived 10 years after the first Citroen, 1st of June 1929, but I did start driving a Citroen as soon as I could, and I bought my own Light 15 Roadster as soon as I was able. That was followed by the 2CV, English built, like the Roadster, but it's now in the Citroen Conservatoire. You may have seen it. ACI started 1974. There was an international rally in Austria, and a few of us thought it would be a good idea if we had some sort of an international organisation to arrange communication between the clubs all around the world. So in theory, we had an organisation. In practice, we had nothing. The next international rally was in England, so there was another meeting there, and we progressed. Yes, there would be a meeting, an organisation, and I was left to do it. This was before the days of email, so there was lots of letters to be written. The 2CV members already had their world meeting every 2 years, but we persevered. The next meeting was organised with help from a lady who was in the communications department at Citroen's in Paris, and we were able to use their cinema. According to the records, it was well attended, but nobody there from France, which did cause a certain amount of discussion, the fact that an Englishman had organised a Citroen meeting in Paris, not attended by anybody from France. But it was the start, and this was the acorn that grew. It's not to a tree, but a forest. We now have 71,000 members. We have 1,000 clubs in 43 countries. I won't take up your time with the history of the ACI. You can read all about it on the website. But one or two stories not detailed in the history. Retromobile in Paris was always the meeting for the Citroen aficionados. So I thought this was where the next meeting would be, to get this international organisation off the ground. But how does an Englishman find a meeting place in Paris? An Englishman who didn't speak very good French. From the bus to the airport one Friday night, I noticed a cafe that was quite large and quite empty. So I made a note of the name and the address, and the letter went to all the Citroen enthusiasts who wanted to have a meeting, and this was going to be the venue. I arrived at the cafe early. It was still empty, as it had been previously. And yes, he asked me if I would like a drink, if I would like food. I said yes, both. But I was meeting some friends. Could I have a big table? Yes, sir. How many friends? Well, I don't know. Will they be eating? Will they be drinking? I said, well, almost certainly they'll be drinking, and probably some of them will be eating. So that was the next meeting. It was a success. ACI was certainly ready to go, although we didn't have a name at that stage. We did have a meeting at the International Rally in England, 1976, and there it was decided that the number 4 ICCCR would be in France. This did cause a problem, as I hadn't foreseen. There were 2 clubs in France. Both wanted to organise the rally. They had both communicated with me previously, but I hadn't got the message that there were different clubs. So I went to Paris and met the two presidents. We started talking as ACI regulations would say in English. Very soon they started talking to each other in French and ignoring me. At this stage I said, well, it's up to you to organise the next rally. I will do the information when you tell me when the rally will be and where. And it came off, it worked. The rally was at Chartres. It was supported by Citroen. It was a very good meeting. The weather was fine. There was 2 CV Cross. There was a museum of old cars and a very good dinner. To my surprise, I was asked to meet 2 members of the Citroen family who wanted to meet this Englishman who'd started it all, but quite an honour. We continued with the ICCR in different countries, and again there was no problem. The venue was decided, the country did the organisation, and there were some better than others, but no real problems, until the rally in Belgium, where there was nobody coming forward to organise the next one. So the committee said, well, what do we do? Well, Michael Cox from USA said, well, if nobody else, I'll organise one in America. So that was agreed, but it did cause a certain amount of controversy. The people from Europe, some of them said, well, we can't go to America. It's too far, it'll be too expensive, there'll be no cars there. The Americans won't have any Citroens anyway. In the event, they were all wrong. The Americans had a lot of Citroens. A lot of cars went from Europe. The weather was fine, and it was a very good rally. It was supported by Citroens. They sent cars over from the Conservatoire for the museum, and all in all, a success. So the next thing was 2004, where Charles Herval was asked to set up the ACI on a proper footing. We had to comply with the French regulations. Charles asked me what was the constitution of the ACI at this stage. I said, well, it was done the same way that the government in England was done. We didn't have a constitution, or we didn't have a written one. Look in your history books, you'll see that is true. However, we were now officially recognised. We had support from Citroen. This was mutually beneficial. We had access to senior management. We had cars from the Conservatoire rallies, and from then on it was success. The ICCCR would be every 4 years, the 2CV World meeting every 2 years. There'd be a meeting at Retromobile to decide on the venue, and all was ready to go. The next important date was when we welcomed Dennis Wheel as a successor to Charles Herval to take over. That went very smoothly. He carried on doing the same sort of good job as Charles had previously, and I hope they are both here tonight. Unfortunately, I can't welcome them personally, but I do welcome you if you are here, as I also welcome all the delegates, all the board members. It is you who have made ACI what they are, what it is now, to be the success that it is today. So I'm only sorry that I can't be with you in person. Good night. Keep the double chevron flag flying. Thank you.